Okay, thank you for coming today to share your oral history of your recollections of your experiences while a student here at Chestnut Grove Elementary School. And this project is being funded by the Conservation Fund. To start out, if you would please share with me your name and all the different schools that you attended.
My full name is Robert Louis Ramseur. I started here in Chestnut Grove in 1960. In 1966, I went to Cool Springs Elementary School to the eighth grade, which was in 1969. In '69, I went to North Idaho High School, and I graduated there in 1973. From there, I went to Mitchell College for a year and a semester. Then I decided to drop out and get married. And after that, I went to work, and in 1977, I went to work for Duke Energy, and they trained me there. I started off as an apprentice and worked my way up to when I retired 41 years later. I was a nuclear maintenance specialist, third class, which was at Woodward Nuclear Station in Hummersville. And that was, and then after that, I went to, I got to think a minute, what's the name of that school? Liberty Baptist College up here, which is up here on 115, and studied ministry, Bible really. And then I graduated there with a BA in 2017. And that's about all I can remember about school. Except I did go back to Mitchell for 1 year for pick up some electrical installation and maintenance course. It was just a night course, and it was lasted a year. It helped me in my studies at Duke, but most of the time Duke trained their own. I went to several different schools there, some 6 months, some years, but they always train their own people after they get you there. Which I went from maintenance to coal-fired. I left coal-fired, went to nuclear, and I spent most of my career in nuclear.
Thank you.
I hope that's what you wanted.
Yes, it's exactly what we wanted. Thank you very much. Any special memories of teachers or things that you reflect on today?
I remember all my teachers. My first teacher was Miss Carr and Miss Sadie Morrison. We done 2 grades before you went to another class. Like the first class was the first and second. The second class was third and fourth, and fifth and sixth and seventh, eighth. But I never made it for the fifth. But it integrated. But Miss Carr had a program, I guess, that if you done good on PTA night, she would take you home with her and feed you and make you. Of course, you had to study before you come on. Then she'd bring you back and turn you back over to your parents. And I happened to be picked one time, and with this other guy, which was named Brandy Smith. I never thought much of that, but later on, I married his sister. So that's kind of funny. I didn't think about it till one day we was talking. Yes, you were. We did go together, and I ended up marrying his sister, which she was in the lower grade than us. I guess that's my special memory there.
Okay. Can you share with me a typical day here at this Rosenwald School, Chestnut Grove Elementary?
Well, the first thing, we picked up, the bus picked us up, and we came in and we went to each class. And went to class. First thing you had to say was the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America, And they always taught Bibles too. I remember always my first Bible was like the thing with John 3:16. They always brought that up. You had to say a Bible verse. Not every day, but they always encourage you to remember that one verse. And I always tell my church Sunday school class, I always remember that verse, John 3:16. I didn't understand it, but I remembered it. But as I got older, I understand it. But John 3:16 is a very important verse. If you don't understand that, you don't understand nothing about the Bible. Okay, I hope that's enough.
Okay. All righty. So what subjects do you remember beside math that was being taught here?
First, they taught you how to write, and then they read and math. They, 3 R's, they just called it back then I was in school. Reading, writing, arithmetic. But they also taught you some science and a little bit of everything, geography, history. But just like a regular class. And but I remember those 3 were the most one they pushed. But you had science, math, and science, geography, and like that history. History was my second choice. Okay, but that's how I remember that about going there. Miss Carl would mostly taught us how to write and read, and she had it for 2 years. So your class she wasn't teaching your class. She gave you an assignment. You had to complete that assignment while the other class were doing there. Then she moved back and forth, and I always thought she was good how they could handle that. We'd have two classes in there. Because, of course, we're talking about maybe 15 students in each class, I guess. But still always amazed me how you can keep two classes going at the same time. I don't know if, but it was interesting, and I met a lot of friends along the way, but some of them I still know, some I don't.
So, were there other outside activities beside the classes that you might have participated in?
We had PE. I forgot about PE. I'm sorry. That's the main. That's the main thing. We played in these red dirt fields around here. We didn't have no indoor facilities. We played outside all the time, and if it was raining, you didn't play. And I remember Mr. Rankin because in the fifth grade he came here. He wasn't here at first, and he came. I can't remember the teacher, but he came in the fifth grade, and he wanted us to teach us how to do a bit more than just basketball and baseball. So he set up this obstacle course, and he went out and cut wood and taught you how to jump over different things, like a bar they could raise up and lower down, but just made out of wood and stuff. Because he wanted us to do different things. He taught us how to play football. Of course, we never played football here because but he showed us how to pass and catch. We never had all that equipment stuff. It was just, I guess, flag, I guess you call it. But it was interesting. Yeah, but that's all I remember about that.
All righty. Did you understand while you were here at Chestnut Grove that you were going to a segregated school?
When I first come, I say no, but as I know, they all look like me for years. And then when I got up in the third and fourth grade, all this stuff started coming on the news, and uh, John F. Kennedy was killed, and I can't think. That's bad. You can't even think of Martin Luther King was coming on the scene, and you started getting familiar with something was different about that school. And we passed these buses. The buses passed each other. The black bus and the white bus, and you really just stuck around it. Well, that's just where you went to town. It was about the same way, so you really never paid no attention. It was more actually when they transferred us down to Cool Spring. When we started going to Cool Spring, that I really noticed the difference. And even in the buildings and materials, so we were so far behind. You know, we had indoor bathrooms at the time. Each class had their own bathroom, except up here I see the 7 days church bathroom. But down in the old first and third, they had bathrooms that I remember. But when I went to Cool Springs, it was like night and day. I mean, books everywhere. We had handed down books, and they might, if we didn't have enough books, they would go to Scott's and get a book or something, and the books were just wild. They said take care of them, but they was always old. We were rare than hell we got a new book. We might get books that the other schools that decided they didn't need no more, and they passed them on down to us. And like we was always getting secondhand. But when you come up that way, unless you see it, you take for granted that's the way the whole world is. But as you go to, as we arrived at Cool Springs, I said, oh man, like I used to give you an example. We maybe had one baseball bat in our whole class. When I got there, they had a barrel full. I mean, an actual trash can barrel full of bats, and that just blew me away because I had never seen that many bats at one time. And so many different things they could do. They had it. If it rained, they went to the gym, and they had a playground that was concrete. We didn't. All we had was red dirt, and basketball goals was played in. They had concrete courts, and different times their place was big enough they could put the whole school out there, and they'd never get in the way of each other. I know it was kind of funny now, but back then it was just there. It was like of course a shock when you come from surviving, and then all of a sudden they have a supply. They just got more than they need. But that was the way life was back then.
So, how were you treated at Cool Springs?
Hmm.
How did they treat you?
At first, it was standoff. You see these kids that you pass them, you see them, but you never play with them, and then all of a sudden you kind of forced on each other. I don't blame them, and I don't hope they didn't blame me, but it was all right. After a while, some of these became lifelong friends. Some you never made friends with. They would just tolerate you. But that's the way life is anyway. Even today in your church, some people your friends, some ain't never gonna be your friend, but they don't hold you up. You just keep going forward. But it was, I mean, say it was a learning experience. I say that about it. It was a learning experience. I have no regrets.